Rashel Díaz, and one of our fearless leaders at corporate home office. So we've had a couple issues with some people with compliance and some things come up, and Lola's taken some text messages. Rochelle and Carlos has taken some text messages from people. And so Rochelle and I thought no better person to invite to this call is someone in home office that knows about compliance, that's connected with compliance. And so we invited Geraldo here tonight to just have a conversation. And we're not going to just, Geraldo's not going to just drone on and on about boring compliance because we know compliance can be really, really boring. We're just going to kind of ask him some questions. And so the way we're going to do this is like the first, 35, 40 minutes we're going to ask Haroldo some questions, and then around 6:40 or so, we want to open it up for you guys to ask some questions. You can put it in the chat or unmute yourself to ask questions if you want some clarification around anything. So, Geraldo, Rochelle, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for doing this with me, Rochelle. I just, compliance is a boring thing, but it's a really important thing to make sure that you're doing the right thing because it protects the company, it protects your livelihood, it protects the consumer. And so we just want to make sure that this opportunity stays alive and we don't do anything that's going to taint it in any way. So, again, what we would like for you guys to do is to share this with as many people on your team as possible so that we can get this message out there and everyone knows what they can and they can't do inside of this business. Because the thing is we have another regulatory body. It's called the FTC, and they keep a very, very close eye on every single thing that we do, every claim that we make, be it income, be it the patch. So we just want to make sure that we're never doing anything. And also, you don't want to get a message one day or an email from the company saying that your account's shut down because you did something that you didn't know about. So we just want to educate you and give you that information. So, Geraldo, very excited to be with you tonight, man. Thanks for doing this for us. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy, busy schedule to have this conversation with us.
Of course. No, thank you so much, Jay, for having me. I know this meeting is going to be a little interactive. We're going to go between you, Jay, and with Rochelle. I know we may be switching language as well. So you let me know how we can get started. And I'm so excited to be here with all of you.
Yeah, so if you want to speak Spanish, being that you know how to speak Spanish, I'll be the only person speaking English and answering questions, and then Rochelle will speak to you in Spanish. We have interpretation, so I'll be able to understand, and any of my English contacts will be able to understand. So we'll just kick it off. We'll just get right into it, Geraldo. So I guess the main overall arching question is, what is compliance as far as in the way LifeWave sees it? And why is it so important?
Well, that's a great question, Jay. And I think what I'm going to do as well as I get started, I think I'm going to switch over to interpretation in Spanish as well. So then when I can hear the question come through, I can actually know when to start responding. So let me do
Okay.
that real quick. Perfecto. Ok. Buenas tardes, buenas
Perfect.
noches a
Okay. Good
todos. No sé
afternoon,
dónde
good
están
evening,
en el
everyone. I don't
mundo,
know
pero
in
les
which part
mando
of
un
the world you
saludo
are, but
muy
I'm sending
especial a
you
todos.
a
Aquí
very special
saludos desde
greeting to
Orlando,
everybody. Saludos.
la Florida.
Welcome.
Y Jay me
Greetings
acaba de
from
hacer la
Orlando,
pregunta
Florida. And
en
Jay
qué es
just asked me the
el
question,
departamento cumplimientos
which
y
is
por qué es
what
algo tan
is the Department of
importante
Compliance
en
and
nuestra
why is it
empresa, en
so
nuestra
important in our
industria.
company,
Y realmente es
in our
algo
industry? And
está ahí
truthfully,
para
this is something
protegernos
that
como
is there to
empresa,
protect us as
protegerlos
a
a
company,
ustedes
to
como
protect
socios
you
independientes
as
de LifeWave.
independent business
Y para
partners
mí,
of
les
LifeWave.
cuento, tuve la
And for
oportunidad
me,
hace
I have to
muchos
tell you that I
años
had the
de
opportunity many
trabajar en el
years ago
departamento de
to work
cumplimientos
in the
y
compliance
vi lo
department,
bueno, lo
and
malo,
I
lo
saw the
feo de
good, the
todo.
bad, the
Y
ugly.
algo que
I
me di
saw
cuenta en los
everything.
últimos años es lo
And something that I
sumamente
saw in the last
importante que es de
years
tener un
is
equipo
how important
en
it
el lado
is
de
to have a
cumplimientos, en el
team
lado
in the
legal de la
compliance team,
empresa,
in the legal
porque al final
side of
del
the
día
company,
nosotros como
because at the
empresa,
end
como
of the
equipo
day, as a
corporativo,
company, as a
estamos
corporate
100%
team, we
enfocados
are
en tener una
100%
oportunidad
focused
especial para
in
cada
having
uno
a
de
special
ustedes,
opportunity for
para
each one
tenerlos
of you
muchos, muchos años,
to be
décadas
able to
en
have
el
it for
futuro.
many, many
Pero al
years
final
and
del día,
decades in
como
the future. But at
mencionó
the end of the day,
Jay al
like
comienzo,
Jay
hay
mentioned
aquí
at
en
the beginning
Estados
of the
Unidos
call,
y cada país
here
tiene
in the
sus
US and
equipos
each country has their
en el lado
own
de
compliance and regulations teams. But here in the US, there are two organizations which are the main ones. One is called the FDA, and the other one is the FTC. The FDA focuses mostly on the product side to be able to protect the consumers who can who are using or consuming the product in their day-to-day. In the FTC side, they are mostly in charge of assuring that the financial aspect, the aspect of not saying things that you should not say, uh, about the business, about money. They are there to make sure that companies are doing things correctly. So on our side, I love to have this kind of calls with our partners because this shows that we are working as a team at the corporate side. We are assuring that we're doing the maximum we can to protect the company and all of you, like our dear partners who are there in the field every day, knowing that they are doing things how the company requires to be able to have a healthy company in the long term and the company that we currently have and we want to have during many more years. So the compliance department will always be there to know on how laws are changing, to be updated on legislation, to transmit the information to you, for all of us to be on the same page and to know what you can do and what you shouldn't do, and to maintain our business as equal as possible for everybody and as honest as possible and transparent so everybody can work this business at a global level. So I hope that this gives you an idea of how important it is to assure that we follow the policies of the company and to work together day to day in continuing working LifeWave all over the world. I loved, Gerardo, that you were able to explain things like this and also to appreciate your presence here, like Jay said, and our gratitude from the whole team because we want to do things correctly, definitely. We want to be aligned with what is important for the company, which is being in compliance because we understand the importance of this. And there are also certain information that we might not normally work on because of the excitement that Latins have. And we're going to share something on social media. And talking about social media nowadays is one of the greatest ways of connecting with people and attracting people to the business, to the product, to the opportunity of this great community. What is it that I can or cannot say and do? Okay, on social media. Because what we want to definitely is to understand this. And that's why we said we have to do this call. So it's recorded. So it's recorded here for all the people who are new and to see it once and again. What can you say or not say in social media?
No se oye, está en mute.
You're on mute. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Perdón,
Geraldo,
perdón,
sorry, you're
perdón.
muted. Oh,
Y
I'm
por eso
sorry.
acá me
I'm
pongo
sorry.
en
I
mute
apologize.
para
Sometimes I mute
asegurarnos
myself,
que no haga
so I
ningún
can
ruido
assure
raro del
that
otro
there's
lado.
no like
No,
background
muchas
noise
gracias,
from
Rachel.
my
Muy
side.
buena pregunta.
Okay, thank
Y
you
lo
very
que me
much, Rachel. That's
encanta
a great
es que
question. And
este
what I
equipo tiene
love
un equipo de
is that
liderazgo
this
que
team
está
has a leadership
sumamente
team that is incredibly
le importa tanto el equipo, quieren asegurarse que todo el mundo esté en buen camino, como
in the
mencionó
same
Rachel,
symphony,
en el lado
in the same
de
tune,
hoy en
like
día
Rachel said.
usando
We all want to walk the same path and make
distintas
sure
plataformas como
that
Facebook,
even
Instagram.
though we use
Hoy en
different
día para
platforms
mí
like
es
Facebook and
increíble
Instagram,
como yo puedo
we
estar aquí
understand
en
how we should use
Orlando,
it. It's amazing
puedo
that I
poner
can
una
be here
foto
in
en
Orlando
Instagram
and
y
I
en
can
lo que
post a
es
picture in
segundos ya
Instagram,
gente
and
por
in
todo el
seconds there
mundo
are people
pueden
all
ver
over the planet
esa foto, ¿verdad?
seeing
Entonces,
that
para
picture.
mí, la
So
tecnología
for
es
me, the
algo muy, es
technology,
increíble.
this technology
A
is something
cada
amazing.
semana, cada mes va
Each
apareciendo
week,
cosas
each month,
nuevas
there are
y
new
nosotros como
things
empresa
in the
entendemos que esa
technology world.
es
And
una
as a
forma
company,
de conectar
we
al mundo,
see
¿verdad?
that
Entonces,
there is
a
a way
través de
here that
estas
we can connect
plataformas
the
sabemos
the
que
world,
hay gente
sorry.
que
So through these
ha crecido
platforms, we can see that there is a way that we can do a follow-up. And at the end of the day, it's just following up with people who are seeing the content that you're sharing with them online. So for us as a company, we want to be very aligned with our business partners, and we want to know that different things that we have to take care of, especially when we thought about this call in specific about compliance. Jay said, look, we have a team that is doing an amazing job, that are growing really fast and have a very big desire to grow here in LifeWave. But me as a leader and Rachel and Carlos, we want to make sure that we're doing the best we can to be able to communicate to our team what it is that you can do and what you cannot do. And as a company, what we can improve. I think that it's important to always see how can we improve in our communication. I love that we can always talk in details about things like this. And we've seen that in the past, there has been people with problems with the compliance department receiving an email saying, look, we saw this and this other thing. But what I wanted to mention to you is that currently we're using a lot of AI or artificial intelligence to be able to assist us in our work and to make sure that we're doing things correctly. So, for example, in the platforms of social media and so on, like we always say, there are certain words that the algorithm, I don't know how you say that in Spanish, but there are certain words, certain phrases that our system can search for all around the world in different platforms on internet in general, and can identify certain words, certain phrases that FTA or FTC are not very fanatical of those words and those phrases because they want to make sure that people are selling or sharing information in the correct way. And they're not promising enormous or exaggerated promises like we've seen many times. We see things on the internet that every once in a while we're like, hey, no, that person has to be careful with that. So to give you a couple of examples about this with the FDA to start, the FDA, like I mentioned, is very dedicated on the hand of illnesses and making affirmations that we are, for example, saying certain words that you cannot use. And I'm going to give you some examples, but obviously all of us here are adults already. We can have different ideas about certain words that we know that we shouldn't be using. But for example, if I put on my page, oh, I found a solution to cure my cancer. You know that what you're saying is very serious, right? Obviously, we cannot say that we're going to cure or treat any kind of illnesses. So what I want to suggest on this call is to totally avoid any name of illnesses or any other thing of the sort, okay? That is the first step to saying, okay, look, it is a disease. We know that FDA is always very attent and searching who speaks specifically about diseases because currently we have a very big group in the pharmaceutical world, in the doctors world, who are part of that platform. They are trying to improve diseases, and if they arrive naturally, for example, supplements, what we have with our technology in an alternative way to the traditional medication, that is what the FDA searches for day and night. They're searching for names of diseases. So completely avoid that immediately. For example, I want to let you know what you can say. I don't want to say what you only what you cannot say, but what can you say, okay? So let me give you an example. If I was a person that has been for years and years with an illness and I say, look, I have this disease and this problem, and this and that, and now I found something, and now I'm better. This is something that the organization like the FDA is not going to like. But if I talk about my story, I have a picture, I have my patch, and it's just an example. I know that you have leaders like Rashel, Carlos, and Jay that do an excellent job in how to share and use those examples of how they share. But I want to give you an example, okay? I am not the expert in social media, but okay, let me tell you an idea. If I have an image, okay, and I post a picture and I talk about my story and my picture is with my patch, it's very different to say, oh, I used to have all these problems, I used to have this illness, and now after 1 month using the patch, I'm doing better. They can't find cancer in my body anymore or the illness. This is something that is not going to happen. But let's change the story a bit and say talk about how we share the message. If I have the patch and I'm showing you a picture now and I tell you, look, in the last years, I didn't have energy. I wasn't the best father because I didn't have energy after work to play with my children. I didn't feel I was a good husband because I couldn't help my wife out at home. I was always tired. And, I just didn't see the reason of continuing like this because I didn't have the energy to do this. And one day my friend shared with me, I know this is very long, but let's just summarize this with these kinds of platforms where we always summarize our information, right? A friend shared the patch with me, and I started realizing that now I did have that energy, that I felt better, that I would wake up better, that I was taking my kids to school again, that I was doing sports again. I haven't spoken about any illness, but I am sharing the story of a situation that I was going through when I wasn't doing too well, and I found this patch, which now makes me feel that I'm back to being the father and the husband that I used to be. Okay, this is something very different to sharing my story and using names of illnesses and diseases because everybody is different, right? In the biological area, in the body, in the metabolism, we can all have different results once and others. So that's why we have to be careful on how we transmit the message. But eventually, with all this summarized, it's to avoid names of illnesses, to avoid saying it cured, it treated. These types of words is exactly what the FDA is searching for every day. And we can change this to a story, sharing our story. We want people to share their stories, but in the digital world, we have to be very careful because that is in the whole world and you can find it very easily. And we want to avoid these circumstances of the Department of Compliance calling our attention. Okay, I hope this was, I know it was a long answer, but Rachel, but I hope this can help to have a clearer image of what you can say and what you cannot say.
Jay, I'm sorry. Let me just add one more thing.
Jay, sorry, let me add one more thing. I would love also if you could briefly, when we show other people's testimonials, can we use other people's testimonials? That is a great question. In general, if we're talking from person to person, if I'm talking with my best friend and I'm like, okay, look, this story of this person, generally when it's person to person, the FDA cannot go after you because you're having a conversation. It's not like the FDA is next to us with a microphone, you know? So sharing the story is fine. Being careful is in the digital world to go out and to share other people's testimonials is something that we do have to be careful with because in their eyes we can have our own personal testimonial, but in other words, we cannot be talking for another person because maybe that other person, the story might not be exactly how it was. So we have to be careful with that. I recommend in the digital area. But if you're talking with a friend that you have since you were a child and you know that they were in a similar situation, sure, you can share that story to help them understand how it can help them too.
So, Rochelle, that was a great question. You actually took the question because I was going to kind of go off script here. No, it's a great, it's an amazing question. I was the same thing thought in my head. So I just, Geraldo, I still want just a little bit more clarification on this because I think this is where people could get in trouble the most. So let's say someone does a testimonial online, or they give us a testimonial and they say something about this patch. I just want to be clear. If they're saying that it helped cure something or it helped them with an illness, even though it's a testimonial that someone else shared, we cannot reshare that testimonial on social media, correct?
Correcto, exactamente eso.
Exactly.
Tenemos que tener, es una línea
Correct.
muy fina.
We have to, it's a
Como
very
mencionó
fine
Rachel,
line.
podemos tener
Like
así
Rachel
un ánimo.
mentioned,
Cuando
we
empiecen
can,
a ver esos
when you
resultados,
start seeing those
parece
results,
la gente quiere hablar,
people want to
compartir,
talk
pero es
about it,
algo
they
donde
want to
tenemos que
share
tener
it, but
mucho
it's something
cuidado
where we have to
en no
be
compartir
careful
testimonios
to
de otras
not
personas.
share
Deja a la persona
testimonials from
compartir
other
su
people.
testimonio
Let the person share
en
their
línea, pero en
testimonial
persona
online,
es una
but in
conversación y pueden
person, it
compartir la
is
historia de
a
otros cuando
conversation
están
and you can share other
personalmente,
people's
yo con un
stories
amigo en una
personally.
mesa
Like me
conversando.
with a friend
Eso es
sitting down,
distinto
having
a
a conversation
poner
at
una
a table
historia
is
enfrente del
different
mundo
to
entero en
having a
una
story in front
plataforma
of the
como
whole world
Instagram,
in a
como
platform
Facebook.
like Instagram,
Es
like
algo que ahí es
Facebook.
donde sí
It
tenemos
is
que
something
tener
where we have to
ese cuidado.
be careful.
Okay. So I'm gonna combine two que well actually I'll let Rochelle ask it because her is on. Can I sell LifeWave products on websites like Amazon or eBay?
Muy buena pregunta,
That
Jay.
is a
Eso
great
es algo que,
question,
como
Jay.
mencioné
That
al
is something like
principio,
I mentioned that I mentioned at the
nuestra
beginning.
empresa, nuestra
Our
oportunidad que
company,
tenemos aquí en
our
LifeWave es algo
opportunity
que
in
queremos
LifeWave
mantenerlo
is something we
un
want to
campo
maintain
bien parejo,
in
un
a
campo que
very
sea igual para todos.
balanced field. We want it
Amazon,
to be the same
eBay,
for
esos
everyone.
sitios en
Amazon,
línea que
eBay,
venden,
those
es
online
algo que la compañía
portals that sell,
decidió
that is
hace
something
mucho
that the company
tiempo
a long
no
time ago decided
participar
not
en
to
eso,
participate in,
no dejar a nuestros socios
to not
vender el
leave
producto de ese tipo de
our
plataformas porque
distributors
eh,
the
en esas
possibility of selling the
plataformas,
products
si
on those
yo tengo una
platforms.
tienda
Because on those
propia de
platforms, if I have
Amazon
my own
y voy
Amazon
y
store,
vendo
for
el
example,
producto en línea,
and I
suceden varias
sell the
cosas,
product
pero lo
online,
que
there's a
hemos
few
visto en
things
la
that can
historia
happen. But what we've seen
de
in
la
the story
industria y de la
of
empresa
the
es que
industry and of the
hay
company, number
formas
one,
donde la
there
gente
are
tiene
ways in
producto y
which
no
people have
sabemos la
product
calidad
and
del
they don't know
producto
the
que esa
quality of the
persona, no
product
sabemos
that
si
that person
estaba
has.
el
We don't know
parche en el
if
sol
the
las
patch was
últimas
under the sun
3 semanas
during the last three
y
weeks, for
ahí
example,
están en el garaje o lo que
and
sea, no
or in the
sabemos la
garage,
condición del
whatever. We don't
producto.
know the
Entonces esa es
conditions in which they
una,
have the product. So
cuando
that's number
uno
one.
compra a través de la empresa de
Also,
la
when you
forma
buy
correcta, están
from the
recibiendo el
company in the
producto
correct way, you know
directamente
you're
de la
receiving the
empresa. Es algo
product
que va a ser
directly
la
from
calidad
the
más
company. You
alta
know it's
del
going to be the
producto.
highest quality of the product.
Segundo, hay gente que
Number
han
two,
encontrado formas que tratan de manipular y
there are
vender el producto
people who have
más
found
barato
ways to
de lo que
manipulate and
la
sell the
empresa
product
tiene
cheaper than what the
disponible a
company
través de
has
ustedes, nuestros
available
socios. Queremos
through
asegurarnos
our
que la gente esté
distributors, our
vendiendo
brand
o
partners. So
que
we
esté
want to
comprando
make
el
sure
producto en el
that people
precio
are
que corresponde.
purchasing product in the
Entonces, plataformas
corresponding
como
price.
eBay,
So
yo puedo
platforms,
poner
for example, like eBay,
el X69 ponlo por
I
$1 y yo dejo que
can
la gente vaya
sell the X39
compitiendo
for
hasta que lleguen
$1
al precio que les dé al
and
final del
I
día.
let people
Y
to
eso no es
bid
la forma que nosotros
for the
queremos
patch until it
mantenernos
arrives to
muy
the price that I want. So
profesional como
that's not
empresa.
how we want
Obvio,
to work.
tenemos
We
nuestra
want to be
mente para el
professional as
futuro,
a company.
seguir
We have our minds obviously
décadas en el
set on the
futuro
future.
y
We want to be
plataformas como
working for
eBay
decades and
y
decades
Amazon.
with our product and platforms
Una
like eBay and Amazon.
quita
Number
la
one,
oportunidad
they take away the opportunity.
hace nuestro producto, ¿cómo se dice? El producto cuando se está
It takes
vendiendo
away
como cualquier
the
cosa.
exclusiveness
Les
of the product when
aviso
you're
que
just selling
dentro
it
de las
like any other
siguientes
thing.
2, 3
I
semanas
have
va
to
a
let
haber
you
un
know that in the
anuncio
next 2 or 3 weeks, there's
sobre
going to
Amazon
be an announcement
porque hemos
specifically about
encontrado, el
Amazon because
departamento de
we have
cumplimientos
found
trabaja
the
día,
compliance
cada día
department
están
works day and
encontrando
night
personas que
finding
están vendiendo
people
en esas
who
plataformas
are
y ellos van
selling
y
in those
contactan a la
platforms
persona y muchas
and they
veces ya
contact the person and
si
many
encuentran la
times
persona que lo está
if they
haciendo,
find the
han
person who
cancelado
is
su
doing that,
cuenta,
they
han
have
perdido el
canceled their
negocio
account.
entero
They've lost
porque
their
lo
whole
están haciendo de
business
esa forma.
because
Va a
they're
haber un
selling
anuncio que les aviso
that
en el
way.
momento, no
So
tengo
there's going
los
to be an
detalles
announcement. I don't
exactos,
have the details
pero va a haber
exactly right
que
now,
todo el mundo va a
but there
estar
is going
enterado
to be an announcement and everybody is
específicamente
going
sobre
to know
Amazon
specifically about
porque hemos
Amazon
encontrado la
because
solución
we have
para
found the
quitar toda la gente
solution
que
to
está
be able
revendiendo el
to
producto
eliminate all the people who are selling the product in Amazon because it's been a job that has taken us very long, one by one, contacting Amazon, removing that product, finding the person, canceling their account. So we found the solution of eliminating at 100% the sales of LifeWave products through independent people. So what I've heard is that it's going to be a very exciting announcement because we found the solution that is going to maintain our business at the highest level and protecting our brand partners, making sure that people are purchasing the highest quality product and making sure that it's not taking away our partners
Hey,
from the
Geraldo,
opportunity.
just real sorry, Rochelle. Someone asked about Walmart. Walmart's the same. Anybody selling it other than LifeWave, if you're not getting it directly from a brand partner or a customer that's giving you a referral link, it's illegal and the company doesn't. And also you don't know what you're getting. You don't know how long it's been in a garage hot. So there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about anybody reselling it.
Exacto. Website,
Exactly.
páginas como eBay,
Web
Amazon,
pages like
Mercado
eBay,
Libre,
Amazon,
en otros
Mercado
países que
Libre
hay,
in other countries, in
Walmart,
Latin countries,
cualquier
Walmart,
de esos sitios que usted
any
puede
of
poner
those
cualquier producto
sites
para
where
vender,
you can
está prohibido por la
upload any
empresa.
product for sales is
Y
forbidden
eso
by
es
the
para
company. And
protegerlos
that is to
a todos nuestros
protect
socios y nuestra
all
empresa
our
a
brand
largo plazo.
partners and our company in the long term.
Okay. Jay, I think the next
Jay,
question is the same thing. No, because it's
No,
a
no, no,
simple
no.
answer.
Because so the reason I added this in is because I've had people ask me if they can create their own website and sell it through their website. So I want to, that's why. So I mean, I can, if you want to just, we can go every other one or whatever, but that's the reason. Because I had someone say that they want to create a website and actually distribute from their website. So if they want to buy 20 and then distribute it themselves and create a website.
Muy buena pregunta,
that's a
Jay.
very good
Entonces,
question,
en
Jay,
las políticas de
actually.
la
And the
empresa, obvio,
policies
nuestro
of
enfoque
the
es
company,
nosotros como
obviously,
empresa
our
darles a ustedes
focus as a
las
company is to
herramientas,
give you the
darles las
tools,
plataformas que pueden
give
usar
you
para
the platform
compartir
that
el
you can
producto
use to be able to share
y,
the
obvio,
product
crecer el equipo,
and
tener más clientes,
obviously
tener
grow as a
más
team to have more
socios
clients,
uniéndose al equipo.
more brand
Lo
partners
importante de esto es que
joining
el
the team.
departamento de
The important
cumplimientos
thing
está
is
ahí
that the
para
compliance department
orientarnos
is
y
here to
ayudarnos y
give us
saber
orientation
que
and to
estamos
help
haciendo
us
las cosas
in knowing that
correctamente.
we're doing things
En este
correctly.
caso
Okay?
estamos hablando
So
de
in
una
this
página
case,
web,
we're
pero
talking
también lo
about a
voy a
web
extender
page, but I'm also going to
a
extend this to
materiales,
different
ciertas cosas que están
resources
representando la empresa.
or
Yendo a través del
commodities that
departamento de
represent the
cumplimientos,
company.
siempre
Going through
les
the
digo, siempre
compliance
va a ser un
department, I
buen
always have to
paso.
say it's
Si
always going to
tienen
be the good
dudas o si
first
tienen
step. If you
preguntas
have any
sobre puedo
doubts
hacer
or
esto, puedo
any
no hacer
questions
esto,
if you can do or not do
qué puedo
something,
poner, qué no puedo
what can
poner.
I
En
put
este
here or
caso,
what should I
cuando se
not
hablan
put
de
here?
páginas
In
web,
this case, when you
siempre
talk
es
about web
importante
pages,
contactar
it's
al
always
departamento de
important to
cumplimientos y
contact the
decir,
compliance
mira,
department
estoy
and
creando
say,
una
okay, look,
página
I'm creating
para
a
compartir,
web
para, digamos,
page
son mis
to
seguidores, voy a
share
tener un
with my
enlace
followers
donde
to
puedo
have a
enviar a
link
mis
where
clientes.
I can
Pero lo
send my
importante es
customers
el
to.
departamento de
Now, the
cumplimientos
important thing is that the Department of
están muy
Compliance
enfocados en que
is
usemos
very
nuestra
focused
propia
in us
página cuando es
using our
posible.
own web page
Sabemos cuando
whenever it's
empieza a crecer un
possible.
equipo muy
We know
grande
that when a
que
team
tiene
starts
que haber
growing
alguna forma
very,
que el
very
equipo
big, there
puede
has to
unirse,
be a
tener
way that the
sus
team has to be
materiales de
united
entrenamiento
with their
y eso
training
entendiendo.
tools and material, and
Siempre
we
es bueno
understand that.
contactar al
It's
departamento de
always good
cumplimientos y
to
decir,
contact the
tengo una
compliance
página web,
department and to say,
puedo
hey,
hacer
I
esto,
have
no
a
puedo
web
hacer
page.
esto.
Can I do this or can I not
En
do
este
this?
caso
Now, in
específico que
this case
pregunta Jay,
specifically that you're asking,
¿puedo
Jay,
yo, Haroldo, tener una
can
página,
I,
digamos,
Haroldo, have
haroldo.com
a web page
y
like
poner
haroldo.com,
fotos del
and can
producto, poner ahí
I
el
show pictures
precio
of
y
the
yo
product with the price, and
directamente la gente comprar mi
can
producto a
people
través de la
purchase my
página?
product through
En
my
ese
page?
caso no se
In
puede.
that case, no,
Lo que
you
sí se
can't
puede
do that.
hacer
But what you
cuando
can
uno tiene
do
una página que fue
when you
autorizada por la
have a
compañía,
web
siempre es
page that
bueno
was authorized by
recibir
the
el
company, it's
thumbs up,
always
como
good to
decimos,
first
del
receive the
departamento
thumbs
de
up from the
cumplimientos.
Department of
Entonces, si
Compliance.
ustedes
Okay,
les
first step.
envían el
So
enlace
if you
al
send
departamento de
someone, if you
cumplimientos
send the
y
link
dicen,
to the
hey, esta
compliance
no
of
es mi
department and you
página,
say,
está
look,
todo
this is my
bien, ¿qué
web
tengo que
page, is
cambiar?
everything okay? What should
Pero
I
la
change?
compañía, ellos van a ayudarlos,
The company
pero
is going
en
to
la
help you
mayor
But in most of
en
the
casi el grupo
cases,
entero,
in most of the whole
realmente no
group,
van a ser tantas personas que van a
it's
tener la
not going to be
necesidad de
so
ir y
many people
gastar
who are
dinero en
going to
tener
have the
una
need to
página.
spend
Nosotros
money in
como
having a
empresa
web
les
page.
damos a ustedes su
As a
propia
company,
página,
we
entonces
give you
siempre
your
vamos a
own web
decir,
page.
les recomendamos
So
de
we're
maximizar
always
la
going to
página de
say we
ustedes,
recommend you to
pero si
maximize
la
our web
compañía
page.
les ha
But
autorizado
if the
tener su
company
propia
does
página, lo
authorize
que la
you to have
compañía
your
sí
own web page, what
recomienda
the company
es
does
de
recommend is
poner el enlace
that you
de
just have to
donde
put the
la gente puede
link
comprar producto
where
en la
people can
página.
purchase the
No se puede
product
vender
on your page.
individualmente
So you
porque
can't
puedo
send it
tener
individually from
el
your
producto
page. I can have
si lo fuera a hacer
the product, for
independiente, yo
example,
poner
if
el
I was
producto,
going
el
to do it
X39,
independently,
puedo
I can
vender
have the
una botella de
X39 product.
agua,
I can send
puedo
also
poner mi celular, puedo
sell a
poner
bottle
lo
of
que sea.
water.
Eso
I
la
can sell a
compañía
cell phone. I can sell a lot of
no
things on the
deja
web
pasar.
page. The
Pero lo que puedo
company
hacer
doesn't
es
allow
poner,
that to happen, but
compra producto y
what you
pones
can do
como, haz clic
is you can
aquí,
put a
si
link
haces
and you
clic
can
ahí
say
te
click
lleva
here, and
directamente
that
a la página
link
tuya
brings you
de LifeWave.
directly to
Eso
your
ahí la
LifeWave
compañía
page,
ha
like a
dejado
landing page.
sabiendo que
That is what the company has
la
allowed for you
inscripción del
to do,
socio o
knowing
la
that the
compra del
enrollment
cliente
of
se está
the
haciendo
brand
directamente a
partner or the
través de la
purchase of the
página de
client is
LifeWave.
being done
Entonces,
directly
si
through the
uno tiene su
LifeWave
propia página
page. So if you
autorizada,
have your own
asegurarse
web
de
page
tener el
authorized,
enlace
just make sure that
directamente
you
a tu
have
página
a
de
link that
LifeWave donde la gente pueda hacer sus
directs your
compras. Creo que
customers
eso
to your
haya
LifeWave page
respondido
so
la
they can
pregunta.
purchase. I
Sí,
hope that answered the
Carolina de
question.
Luque,
That was great.
Yes,
es lo que acaba de decir
Carolina de Luque,
Haroldo.
that is what
Puedes poner el
Haraldo just
enlace
said.
que lleva
You
directo
can put a
a donde
link
compra en la página web
that
de
takes you
LifeWave.
directly to the
Están
LifeWay
preguntando de los
page as a landing
perfiles de
page.
las páginas
Now they're asking about the
de las cuentas
profiles
o de Instagram
of
o
the
Facebook que uno
account of
pone como el
Instagram
enlace, si
and
pones ese
Facebook
enlace
that you
directo te
use a
va allá.
link
Sobre
directly.
esto de
Yes. Now,
compartir, ¿tú querías decir algo,
when we
Jay?
talk,
You want to
Jay,
say
you
something?
wanted to say something, sorry?
Jay? No?
You
Okay, okay.
you just said exactly. It's like a link tree or anything else. It's the same exact thing. Yeah.
Well, that's why you're my mentor, right?
Por eso
That's
eres
why.
mi,
Ok, sobre esto
that's why you're
de
my mentor.
compartir,
So about
podemos compartir, por ejemplo, y por
sharing,
eso es
we
que hay
can
gente
share,
que
for example,
funciona.
because I know there's
Cuando
people that this
ponemos,
works for them.
queremos atraer personas a la
When
oportunidad.
we want to
Compartir
attract
lo que
people to the
ganamos
opportunity,
es
we
algo que
can
se puede
share
poner en
what
social media
we
porque yo he visto
earn. Can we
personas
do
que
that
les
on
quiero
social
saber si
media?
es posible,
Because I've
aunque
seen
a lo
that. Is
mejor
that possible?
ocultes la cantidad que
Even though
ganaste o,
sometimes
no sé, de
you
alguna
might not
manera
say
se
the
puede hacer o
exact
eso
amount,
definitivamente no se puede
or
hacer.
is that something that you can't do?
Nosotros como empresa tenemos, muy
As a
buena pregunta,
company,
Rachel,
that's a very good
tenemos
question, Rachel.
lo que llamamos en inglés un Income
We
Disclosure
have
Statement.
what we
El
call an
Income Disclosure
income
Statement se puede
disclosure
traducir
statement.
básicamente un
The income
resumen
disclosure
de los
statement basically
ingresos en
is a
general
summary
por
of
rango.
general
Eso es
income
algo que nosotros
divided
queremos
in the
que la
different
gente puede ir y
areas,
ver,
okay? This
en
is
tal
something that people
rango, ¿qué
can
es el
go and
promedio de lo
see
que la gente
divided
gana
by
en ese
ranks.
rango?
Okay, in this
Si uno
rank,
quiere
what is
saber,
the
si alguien
average
viene y
that
dice,
people earn?
mi nivel
If somebody wants to
de
know, okay,
director
at the level
senior
of senior
el
director,
Senior
for example,
Director, ¿cuánto gana promedio? Ahí,
how much
eso
do
es
they
un
earn as an
documento
average?
oficial de la
That is an
empresa que está
official
aprobado por
document
la
of
empresa
the
que se pueden
company that
usar
was
si
approved
quieren
by the
ver
company
ciertos
that you can
números
show if you
y
want to
tener una
see
idea de lo que se
certain
ganan en
numbers
los
and have an
distintos
idea
rangos.
of what the
Ahí,
different
genial,
ranks earn
cuando les
as an
recomiendo
average,
siempre,
okay?
cuando tengan un
That's
documento
great.
oficial
When
de la
you have an
empresa,
official
van
document
a saber
of
que
the
es un
company, I
documento
recommend you
aprobado, que
to
ellos han hecho todo lo
know
que han tenido que
that that
hacer
is a good one because it's been
para
approved and
aprobar
authorized and
ese
everything that
documento y
has to be
saber que no
done
nos
for
vamos
that
a meter en
document to
problemas con ninguna
be
agencia
legal
del
for you to
gobierno.
not get into
Con eso
problems with the
dicho, para
government
contestar
agency. Now,
responder tu
having said
pregunta,
this and to
Rachel,
answer to
cuando
your
hablamos
question, Rachel,
de la
when we
oportunidad
talk
del
about
dinero,
the
es
opportunity of
sumamente
the money,
importante,
it is
obvio, no poner
crucially important, obviously,
cifras, dice en
to
español.
write down
Hablo portugués también,
digits.
de vez en cuando
Sorry,
se
I'm
me
also
enredan las
speaking
palabras.
Portuguese and
No
sometimes I
podemos
mix
poner
all
cifras,
languages.
no
You have
poner
to put
números exactos, eso es algo evita.
exact digits. You have to avoid
No
putting an
podemos ir
exact number, an
prometiendo,
exact
por
amount.
ejemplo,
We
es
can't
muy fácil
promise.
venir y decir,
For
mira,
example,
estoy en
it's
el
very
negocio
easy
seis
to
meses
come and say,
aquí
"Oh, look, I've
manejando
been
mi
in the business
Lamborghini, la vida,
for
porque
6 months, and now
está
I'm
en
in my
inglés,
Lamborghini,
¿cómo
and
se
life
puede
is
decir la
easy."
palabra
How could you
entice?
say that
Estamos
it's
básicamente
entice?
desde cierta,
Basically,
no forma muy
in a way, we're not being very honest because everybody is going to have their own results. Yes, there are people in our companies who have grown very quickly, but that is not going to be the case for everyone. So they want there to be a professional level between all of us. Now, what can we say? Okay. For example, recently, I don't know. I want to see this just in case. I see that we're almost 200 here, but if you could raise your hand, please, I would like to know who could qualify for the Punta Mira trip, okay? I would like to see that very fast. Okay, I'm seeing a few hands raised here. Okay, excellent. So, earning a trip, for example. Earning a trip has been something that organizations like the FTC say we cannot say that we earn a trip, but you can qualify for a trip. Okay? That is already well said. That is a way to show how you are progressing in the company. If I say, look, I received my official invitation because I qualified for a trip and I worked towards it, and that way we can say, if I say I earned, the word earning or winning in English, or I received it for free, those are words that they don't want you to use because, again, in our case, in Punta Mita, there are people who qualified, for example, for 100 points. 100 points, okay, amazing. Yes, they earned, no, not earned, they received the qualification for a room, but they have a reimbursement until $450 for one person because the room was for two. So basically, the second person does need to pay their ticket if they don't get the 140 points. So it wasn't 100% for free. Okay, so there is where we have to have a lot where we have to be really careful with the words that we choose. I qualified for a trip, I worked and I earned the points or I saved points to be able to participate in a trip. That's okay. But when we're talking about money, we cannot give amounts. We cannot create an illusion of success, let's say in a way, when for most of the people, it is not going to make everybody not everybody is going to be driving their Lamborghini. So this has to be something equal for everybody when we talk about money and things like that. I hope that answered the question. Yes, we
So,
have to be careful
Rochelle,
because
so,
we
oh,
can't
sorry.
guarantee anything. Go, 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 Jay.
So,
Thanks.
so I just see other direct sales companies talking about income and then they post the income disclaimer. So are we allowed to do that, Haroldo? Like, are we allowed to say, hey, I'm making this money, but here's an income disclaimer? Because I mean, there's so many companies out there like Pharmacy and Monet and all these companies, Herbalife, posting what they're making, to kind of, show people what's possible. But then they also have an income disclaimer in the social media saying this is not possible for everybody else. Are we allowed to do that at LifeWave?
Sabes que esa es una muy
You know
buena
what? That's a
pregunta,
really good
Jay.
question, Jay.
Nunca me han preguntado
Nobody
esa
has ever
pregunta, si te
asked me
puedo
that
tener
if you can have
el
uh,
documento y
the
decir
document
eso.
of what you earned and then
Sé que
put the
tenemos algunas
disclaimer.
otras preguntas.
I
Le voy
know
a
that
mandar
we
un
have a few
mensaje
more
directo
questions. Let
ahora
me
al
send a
Departamento de
direct message
Cumplimiento
right now
porque
to
ellos
the
son
compliance
mis
department about
queridos
this because
compañeros que
they are
siempre están
my
atentos.
amazing colleagues that are
Voy a hacer esa
always
pregunta
paying attention to
esa
what's
pregunta
going
para
on. So
tener
let me ask them a
100% la
question to be
respuesta,
100% sure
porque
about
sé,
that
como
answer
dices tú, Jay,
because I
las
know, like you
empresas,
said, Jay,
hay ciertas cosas que hacen
that
diferentes,
in the
pero todo
companies there
mundo,
are
por lo
different
que yo
things,
sé en la industria,
different
está tratando de
strategies, but I know that
alinearse
everybody
en
in the
hacer,
industry is trying to be
estar bien
aligned
parejos en
in
este
being
tipo
all
de
in the
cosas.
same
Entonces,
page with
si
these
está bien,
kinds of
quiero
things.
responder la pregunta, no solo
So
quiero
I would
decirla
like to
porque es la
answer the
primera vez que me han
question
preguntado
correctly because
esa
this is the first time
pregunta,
somebody has
pero
asked
voy a
me this
conseguir la
question.
respuesta antes
So
que
let
termine
me
esta
get that
llamada, si está
answer
bien.
before this call is over. Is that so? If that's okay.
Me encanta,
Yes.
me encanta. Eso está bien. Claro, porque estás
I
mostrando la
love that. I
evidencia
love
de
that. Yes,
parte de la
because you're
compañía,
showing
¿verdad?
evidence
No es
from the company
algo que
directly. So
solamente
it's
hiciste
not
tú.
something that you're just saying
Ahora,
verbally.
Harold,
Okay.
yo sé que estás enviando
So,
el texto y en lo que envías el texto,
Horaldo,
empezó
sorry. While
alguien
you're
y
sending that
dice, ¿qué
text,
están
I'll start
diciendo?
answering
Se
to these
venden en
questions, okay?
TikTok, lo
Remember,
venden
you're
por
saying
Amazon, lo
they
venden
sell it
por
in
eBay,
TikTok, they
recuerden
sell
eso,
them
por
in
eso
Amazon, they
necesitan
sell
tu
them in
llamada.
Remember, that is why this call is important. This is what is being in compliance with the company that we represent, because this is what we decided to represent LifeWave and their compliance. So if others are doing things that they should not do, it does not mean that we are going to repeat that because we want to do what is correct. So everything that they're doing incorrectly, okay, let's focus on the correct way of doing things. That's why this call is for. That's what this call is for, to check and to repeat what the company is doing that we should do. So if they're already doing it, you know that you should not do it unless you put the link that goes directly to the company. So let's focus on that. And now, before we finish, we'll ask more questions about testimonials because I know there's still a few questions. But one of the questions that are mostly repeated
Rachel, real
is,
quick. Sorry. Not to interrupt you. I was gonna tell people to write their questions in the chat. The people with their hands up, so Lola could gather them and we can get to Geraldo and we could put it on our chats because I don't. We got 15 minutes before your next call, and so I just want to make sure that we get all their questions answered. So Lola, if you could just look in the chat for the questions that might come in from the top six, just so we can make sure we get their question answered and we're able to get to these questions for Geraldo. Sorry, Rochelle, for interrupting you. I just wanted to make sure that we're doing that so we don't miss that.
Tranquilo, estoy de acuerdo.
don't worry, I agree.
¿Cuándo podemos
So,
hablar, Haroldo,
when
abiertamente de
Haroldo,
eso, de
can
las
we
células
speak
madre?
openly
¿Ya se
about
puede
stem
hablar
cells?
o todavía
Can
no?
we do
¿Qué
this
entonces sí podemos hacer?
currently or not yet? And if not, what can we do?
Perdón, una vez, me acaban de mandar la respuesta. ¿Puedo
Sorry, they just
dar la
sent me the
respuesta
answer. I have the
rapidito?
¿Quieres decirlo
reply.
así?
Sí,
You
Dale.
want to say it? Okay, come on, let's go ahead.
dijeron que
They
les gustaría que
said
usen
that they
ese
would like you to
documento lo
use
más
that
posible.
document
Cuando
as
estén
much as
hablando de
possible.
cómo
When
funcionan
you're
las
talking about
comisiones,
how
de qué
commissions
puedo
work,
ganar,
what can I
mostrando el
earn,
documento, así sí
always
es
showing
a
the
nivel digital, como mencionó
document
Jay, que han hecho en otras
that
empresas,
Jay
aquí también
mentioned
sí se
at a
puede.
digital level,
Estamos, obvio,
like
tratando de
the
evitar
income disclaimer that
que
other
se digan
companies show.
afirmaciones
So
así
this is something that we
exageradas, porque
also
obvio,
want to do. We
con
want
ese
to avoid
documento van
exaggerated
a estar
affirmation. So with
protegidos
that
y me
legal
dieron
disclaimer, you will
la
be
aprobación.
protected. And they gave
Entonces,
me the
ya tenemos
approval
la
for that.
respuesta.
So we have the
So,
answer.
so Geraldo, just one more question. Sorry. What people do on social media a lot, and just to be specific, is they'll post, a video or whatever, and they'll put the income disclaimer in the comment section where they'll write their what do you call it, Rochelle? Not the comments, but your when you write in the your post. What is that called? When
En
you
el store o el feed, en el
The
feed,
feed?
en el
in
In the
in the
feed?
feed and or on the stories, they'll put like an income disclaimer. Maybe not the sheet, but they'll put an income disclaimer so that it's like in the corner in a black box with white letters saying this is not that doesn't pertain to everybody. I just want to be specific because I think there's so many companies out there doing that right now that is drawing people in, and I feel like the message to LifeWave is you can't post anything. You can't talk about it with about anything. So I would just love to get the specifics of like if we do a post, a feed, can I write it in my feed? Or can I, if I do a story, can I write it and put a little tag on the story saying this is the income disclaimer, even if it has a link that goes to it, or even if it's on the second page in the feed where if they scroll to the page, the income disclaimer photo of it would be there. I just want to be specific because I just feel like we're missing a huge boat not being able to talk about what we're doing and as long as we put that income disclaimer that the FTC wants to see.
Sí, con el aviso,
Yes,
sí,
with the
ahora respondemos
disclaimer.
en español. Sí, con el
I'm answering
aviso,
in
lo que me
Spanish
han
now.
dicho
With the
es,
disclaimer, what they've
quieren
said
que usen ese documento
is
lo
that
más
they want you
posible.
to
Obvio,
use
es un
that document as
documento
much as
grande, entonces
possible.
publicarlo
Obviously,
así
it's a
es
big
distinto, pero como
document, so
mencionó Jay, si hay
posting
una forma que
everything
la
is
gente
different. But
tenga
like Jay
acceso
mentioned,
a
if there's
eso,
a way
decir,
that
mira,
people can have access to that,
estamos trabajando aquí en
saying,
LifeWave,
look, we're working
tenemos
here
gente
in
creciendo
LifeWave, we
en
have
los
people
distintos rangos,
growing in the
hagan
different
clic aquí
ranks. Click
para ver
here to
exactamente el
see
documento de
exactly
ingresos de
the
la empresa
document
oficial
of
para
the
que
official
tengan
document of
mejor
income from
idea
the
de lo que
company, so you
la
have a
gente
better
está
idea
generando aquí en
of what
LifeWave.
people are
De esa
generating
forma sería
in
una
income here
forma
in LifeWave. So
buena de
that would be a
hacerlo,
good way
es
of doing that.
dando, obvio que la gente entienda
Obviously, people need to
que
understand
todo el mundo es
that
distinto, ¿verdad? Entonces, a
everybody's
través
different,
de
okay?
tener una frase así,
So through
ayuda a proteger
having a phrase
que la
like this one, it
gente,
helps
nosotros
you
en todos nuestros
protect.
eventos,
And for
siempre
us, in all
aparece esa
our
frase
events,
ahí para
we
proteger la
always show
empresa,
that
igual como
phrase
ustedes pueden usar esa
so we can
frase
protect the
para
company. The
protegerlos
same
a
way that
ustedes
you can
también
use it
y
to
enviar a
protect
la
you too,
gente a los
and to
documentos
send
oficiales
people
de
to
la
those
empresa.
official documents of the company.
Ok, te repito entonces ahora la pregunta de las
Okay, let
células
me
madres.
repeat the
¿Cuándo
question of
podemos
the
hablar
stem cells. How,
si esto ya
when
se
can we
puede o
start to
para
talk?
cuándo
Can we already start to talk about
podemos
stem
decir
cells, or for when, or what is it that we can say about stem cells?
Muy buena pregunta, Rachel.
That is a great
Tuve una
question,
reunión
Rachel. I
justamente
had a
ayer con
meeting
el equipo
precisely
ejecutivo
yesterday with
y
the
parte del
executive team.
equipo que estaba
And
ahí
part of the
ayer era
team
nuestro
who was there yesterday
vicepresidente
was
mundial de
our
marketing.
world vice,
Se
our
llama Wayne
marketing
Moorhead, muy buena gente.
global
Él ha estado
vice
trabajando
president,
con
Henry
David y
Winform.
yo
He's a
estamos
really
muy,
good,
muy
nice
cerca en
person.
este
He's
momento
been
de
working very
darnos
closely to David, and
la
he's really close
actualización de
right
lo que
now to
vamos a
giving
poder
us an
decir.
update
Digo
of
que
what we are
con
going to
células
be able
madres
to
eso
say
va a
about
volver.
stem cells and so
Van a
on.
haber ciertas
You
cosas
are
que
going
tenemos que
to see that there are a
mantenernos
few things that we
dentro
still have
de
to
unos
maintain
parámetros, pero
inside
digo que
some
sí, esto
parameters,
va a estar
but
volviendo muy, muy pronto. Obvio que
he
acabamos de
will be
lanzar
giving
nuestro
this
producto
announcement
nuevo,
very
Seller Drive, y
soon.
eso ha sido una
Uh,
parte también para
we also
ayudarnos
have that new
en poder
seller drive product, which is
regresar
also going to
ciertas
be helping
frases.
us to
Pero
be able
desde
to use
ayer
a
o
few
justamente ayer
phrases.
tuve esta reunión
But
y tengo
since
que estar
yesterday, or
muy, muy
precisely
cerca esa
yesterday,
hora
we had
para
that meeting
darnos
and we're very close right now
lo que podemos decir, no
to
decir con células
see
madres
what it is
y
that we can say about
básicamente
stem cells. And
nos va a abrir las
basically, it's
puertas
going to
para
open the
atraer muchas
doors
más personas
to be able
a
to
LifeWave.
attract
Entonces
many
dijeron
more
que no,
people
no
to
falta mucho
LifeWave.
tiempo
So they said
y
that
eso fue
it's
desde
not long,
ayer
it
con
won't
el
be
equipo
long. And that was
ejecutivo.
yesterday that
Entonces
they said,
denos
talked about
algunos
that
días
with the
más
executive
ya
team.
me
So
imagino vamos
give
a
us a
tener
few more
esto en
days, and I
mano para
imagine that
todos
we're going
ustedes.
to have this at hand for all of you.
Don't get too happy. Don't post it yet.
Está bien.
What so
Y vamos a darles los parámetros
And we're going to give
actualizados.
you the
Obvio,
updated
en el momento
parameters.
lo que estamos hablando es
Obviously,
lo que está
at the moment, what
hoy,
we're
hoy
talking
mismo,
about
pero
is what we
lo van
have
a ver
until
con
today,
estas
updated until today.
actualizaciones,
But you're
van a
going
ver
to see
parámetros
that there's going to
bien
be
claros que ustedes
very
van a poder
clear
seguir
parameters in those updates that
yendo en
you're going to
adelante
be able
después
to
que se
follow
haga el
from now
anuncio.
onward after the announcement.
all right, Haroldo, what is the yearly renewal fee and what happens if you don't pay it?
Ok, esa es muy buena pregunta,
Okay,
Jay,
that's a very
porque
good
es algo que
question, Jay,
empezó
because this is something
recientemente
that
hace
recently
meses.
started six
Para que
months
tengan
ago.
idea, la compañía
And
ya
for you
lleva
to have
20
an idea, the
años
company
en
has
la
been
industria.
in the industry
Y el
for
año
20
pasado fue
years.
la primera
And
vez que
last year was
actualizamos
the first
oficialmente
time that
donde
we
requerimos
officially
a
updated
nuestros
the
socios
requirement
actualizar que
of
están
our business
aceptando
partners to
las
update that
políticas
they
de la
are
empresa.
accepting the
Como
policies of the
empresa, obvio,
company.
dijimos, tenemos que
As a
nosotros como
company,
empresa estar
obviously, we said
protegidos
that
y
as a
nuestros socios
company,
estar
we have to be
protegidos también y
protected, and
también
our
estar
partners
informados
have to be
qué son
protected,
las
and they also
políticas de
have
la
to be
empresa,
informed on
porque
what the
puede
company's
ser que a cada
policies
seis
are,
meses
because
hagan una
maybe every 6
actualización
months there might be
que
an update
hasta el año pasado
that
no se
until
había
last year we didn't,
hecho. Nuestros socios de 15, 20 años atrás
our
no habían
brand partners from
aceptado
15 and
las
20 years
políticas
ago
nuevas de
had
la
not
empresa.
accepted the new
Entonces,
policies
los
of the
que para
company.
mantenerlos a
So
un
to be able
nivel
to
parejo
maintain
con la industria,
ourselves at
lo que estamos
the
haciendo
same
ahora
level as
con
the rest of the
lo que
industry,
llamamos el
what
renewal
we're
fee
doing now
o
with what was called the
lo que
renewal
estamos haciendo
fee, or
anualmente es
what
que
we're
están
doing yearly,
renovando
is that we are
su
renewing
membresía, podemos decir,
their
o renovándose
membership,
como
or
socios de LifeWave,
renewing as
están aceptando
LifeWave
las
partners. They
políticas
are
para el
accepting the
siguiente año de
policies
la
for the
empresa
next
para
year of the
asegurarse que
company
estén al día
to
y que
make sure
todo
that they
mundo
are
esté a un
updated
nivel
and for
parejo
everybody to
en
be at the
relación a las
same
políticas.
level in
Pero la gente
relationship
dice,
of the
Roldo, ¿por qué
to the
solo no puedo
policies. But people
firmar un
say,
documento
Araldo, why
y
can't I
ya
not
decir,
just
mira, estoy
sign a
estoy
document and say,
aceptando
look,
las
I've
políticas? ¿Por qué
accepted
me
the
tienen que cobrar
policies. Why do they
$25?
have to charge me
Bueno, en
$25
relación
for
a
that?
eso,
Well,
la
okay,
renovación al año, los dos
the
objetivos es
yearly
una,
renewal has two
aceptar las
objectives. One of
políticas de la
them
empresa
is
para el
to
siguiente
accept the
año y
policies of the
dos,
company
es
for the
para
next year.
renovar
And the second one
nosotros como
is to
socios con
renew
LifeWave. Hay
as
gente que durante los
LifeWave
años
business
15, 20
partners.
años
There
que
are people that during the 15 or
entraron al
20
negocio y
years
quizás
since they started in the
no
business,
hicieron
maybe
mucho,
they
ya
didn't do
pasaron 10,
a
15
lot.
años, no han hecho
Maybe it's been
nada.
10 or 15
Entonces,
years
una
since then,
forma
and
que
they
la
haven't done
compañía
anything.
sabe
So
que
one of the
vas a
ways that the
seguir
company
con
knows that you are
nosotros
going to
el
continue
siguiente
with
año,
us during the
¿qué
next
es lo que
year,
hacemos con esos
what do we
$25?
do with
No
those
es que la compañía
$25?
quiere
It's not
decir,
that the
mira,
company wants to
$25
say,
cada
oh,
persona, lo voy a poner en
$25
el
per
bolsillo.
person, I'm going
Pero
to
lo que
put that
estamos
in my
haciendo es
pocket. But what
reinvertirle
we're
ese
doing is
dinero a la
reinvesting that
compañía. Por
money
ejemplo,
in the
si
company.
nosotros vamos a abrir
So, for example, if we're going to open our own company, I'm opening, for example, a store. Each year, I need to renew with the government. I need to renew as a company. I need to renew myself as a company with the government, but obviously what the government charges you is very expensive. And I know there's a lot of people here who are entrepreneurs with their businesses. Those are very high levels. As a company, what are we doing? When we enter the business as a brand partner, we give them their own web page. Like we mentioned, they're going to have their own web page. And as a company, we are in charge of investing and spending the money to update the web page to always make sure that it's improving. And I want to let you know that we're in a very important project in our list this year is to have a completely new web page. We've been working on this during the whole year. So be looking out for it because towards the end of the year, we're going to start announcing the new page. Our virtual office, each one of you as brand partners, you have your own virtual office. Those are the expenses where we are investing to be able to renew as partners in the business. And that way the company can continue investing in improving the web page, improving the virtual office, because imagine having a business that can be a business that is going to generate a very good income in the future. Nevertheless, having a $25 investment, sorry, $25 investment will allow us as a company to improve at a technological level and support for all of you.
La última parte de la pregunta, ¿qué
Oh,
sucede
and the
si,
last part of the question, what happens if you don't renew? Okay, I almost forgot about the second part of the question. When you are reaching your first anniversary and each anniversary in the company, 1 month before, they're going to start sending you a notification saying, hey, your renewal period is upcoming, and you're going to receive that notification. Also, when you access your virtual office on the top, there's going to be a warning, hey, your renewal date is coming up. Please, 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 I beg you to pay attention and look out for that date. The only thing you have to do is to enter your webpage, click on the link, and you can renew paying $25. You accept the policies for the next year. And if everything goes well until the year after that. But there are people who have lost their account, they've lost their category of a brand partner to a customer category because they're purchasing product, obviously, in their monthly shipment, but they've lost their category and they've lost their organization for not renewing. So please, I'm begging you, please pay attention to that. I know that not everybody in this call is going to need to worry about this until maybe 4 or 5 or 6 months time at least, but please pay attention to that because we want everybody to maintain their business in a good, healthy state with the company.
Okay, gracias, Haroldo. Jay, it's time because we have
Okay,
an
thanks,
opportunity
Haroldo.
call.
Jay, it's time because we have an opportunity call.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other questions that we were going to ask, I think we could cover maybe in another training call. The only one is Geraldo, if you could just tell us really quickly where we could find the policies and procedures, and maybe Lola could send that out. Maybe if there's a link to the website or something, that would be great. And then we got to go because Rachel's got an opportunity call right now.
Sí, sí, muy buena pregunta.
Yes, that's a great question, Jay.
Y espero que les vaya genial
I
en
hope
la
everything
reunión de
goes
oportunidad.
well in the
Lo que tienen
opportunity
que hacer
call.
es
What
entren
you have to
a su
do is
oficina virtual,
access
hacen
your
login.
virtual
En la
office,
parte de arriba a la
log
derecha, en
in the
inglés lo van a
top
ver
at
como
the right.
resources,
In
en
English, you're
español
going
está
to
como
see it as
recursos.
resources. In
Si hacen
Spanish,
clic
as
ahí, le va a
resource.
aparecer una lista
Recurso.
de
If you click there, you're
muchas
going to
cosas
see a
y ahí
list,
les va a
a
aparecer las
drop-down
políticas
list,
de la
and there you're
empresa.
going to see
Es
the
solo hacer
policies
clic.
of the
Ok,
company.
ahí,
There you can
excelente,
click. Yes,
entonces.
excellent.
Y si
There it
vamos
is. That was
bajando, va a haber
fast. And if
una
you go
parte
down,
aquí
there's
que
going to be a
dice,
part here, an
¿dónde
area that
está?
says, let's see, where is this? Where is this?
Sé que actualizaron eso
I know that they
recientemente.
renewed this recently.
New member information. Puedes hacer clic ahí, Rachel, a ver.
Let's see, you can click there, Rachel.
Right here.
Oh, ahí
I found it.
aparece el income disclosure statement. Oh,
Okay,
yeah, Jay,
income
you're doing this.
disclosure statement there. Oh,
So ahí
sorry, it's
están
you,
los
Ray.
policies and
Jay.
procedures,
So
las
there you have
políticas,
policies
y
and
ahí at the very
procedures.
bottom,
And at the
bien
bottom,
abajo está the US
you
disclosure,
have the
earnings
US
disclosure statement. Ahí
disclosure.
está el documento que estuvimos
On
hablando
the
hace
bottom, you
algunos
have the
minutos.
document that we were talking about.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Geraldo, for your time. We really, really appreciate it. It was very, very helpful. I know a lot of people got a lot out of this, including me. So thank you for bringing so much clarity to our business. And if you guys ever have any questions, what I would also do and suggest is call customer service, and they can help you with those too. Because if you have a question, or just reach out to one of us, and we can clarify with Geraldo and get that information to you. So thank you guys so much, Rashel. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Everyone have a great night. It's so good to see you guys. Make sure you share this call when we share it out so people will have this information. Okay, you guys? We'll see you guys really soon. Geraldo, thank you so much, man. Sorry we got to go, but Rochelle's got to call right
Bye.
now. Bye
Gracias.
bye.
Gracias. Bye.
Gracias.